Hi, I'm Deborah Wallace, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I want to do a positive reframe on receiving Western medicine treatment. And I'm going to give a little context why I'm doing a reframe on that, as I am a very holistic, natural person that, with anything, body, mind, and spirit, I prefer natural, holistic approaches. And when my children were little and my electronic thermometer ran out of battery, I never bought a new battery, as I never formally would take my children's temperature, because to me a fever wasn't a bad thing. It was their body working. And I've done a positive reframe on sick, which I call health expressions, as opportunities to nurture and boost TLC and get vital needs met, which often is in the form of minerals, vitamins, connection, relationships. So when I also did a positive reframe on my cancer diagnosis, I take that same approach. And it was surprising to me that when I got the word of my diagnosis, which actually I was wearing this shirt. Comes from Colorado State University, Human Development Family Studies, where I got my master's degree. And I chose to wear it when I went to get my results, because I knew I needed the love and support, as I loved my master's program and all my professors and friends from the program. There was only 8 in my year. Uh, and When I got the results and the surgeon was telling me the partial mastectomy and radiation is what's recommended, and in my gut, like, it just felt right. And many people, even myself, as it's big news to find out you have cancer. And then as I was then sitting with, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, surgery, really? Do I really need surgery? And radiation? And I was very blessed that I don't need chemo at this point. Now it's possible. I just had the tumor removed and a lymph node biopsied, and so I won't know for another week and a half whether it has traveled. Hopefully it has not, and I won't need any more treatment. I will need the radiation, yet radiation has come. I've done all my research. Something happens, I read the pros and cons. I read at least 3 from all avenues. I consult many different people, people who've gone through it, people who haven't gone through it, people who know me. I'm a huge advocate of making well informed decisions, and that means looking at things all the way. And the other key point, I talk a lot about the nervous system. We all have a nervous system, and a healthy nervous system. And I'll use a phrase from Dr. Dan Siegel, is one that exhibits FACES, which is flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable, flow. And so I think it's so important that when we make decisions, I think people just think, well, you're just this way, and that's just the way. And we need values, like our values to help make our decisions. And yet there are variables in every situation that are outside of our control. And there's so much context to consider that if we're just rigid and just draw a hard line with everything, that might not always be the best for us. And so it's really important to reflect and take our time to sit with things, which I did. And so that's why rigidity is often marked as not a healthy nervous system. And so it's important to be flexible and adaptive. And so um, doing all my research, it still felt like it was the right thing to do. And especially considering both my children, this is scary. And and when I did again talked with other surgeons, got opinions, they said, we, with your age, we want to take the most aggressive approach, so that doesn't come back. So, for my children's well-being, this helps them feel safer too, that I'm doing this option, and that is really important to me. So I've made peace with the decision. I will struggle if it does mean that I have chemo. I will have to explore that more. Right now, I'm only bite-sized, taking on the procedures that I know that I need to have. That's what I recommend with people, I often, as I help so many clients through medical issues as well, and any big decisions, I often say, well, let's wait. Let's just work with the information we have. And if we get new data, then we'll reassess. And so if it finds out in a week and a half that I may need chemo, well, then I'm going to do all my research for that, because there is value to Western medicine. And I think I'm not a fan of that it's uh, the approach um, in general, yet there are times when it's needed. In fact, I'm a migraine sufferer. I started getting migraines when I was 18, and I know it's definitely two variables that were outside of my control, and there's some that I can control, like hydration and protein and nutrition and things like that. But there are some emotional stressors that were not in my control and could continue to not be in my control as much as I take care of myself. And so I do take a medication because I get migraines 3 to 6 a month. And there's a pill that I take, and thank goodness, I need that pill, so that I can be my best self. And so, as natural as I want to be, I think it's really important to attune and check in and listen to your body and reflect on the variables that are in your situation and such. So, I am following my advice and really taking time off to rest. And there's physical therapy exercises I've been giving, and I'm doing all that and really enjoying my time off. As I tell everyone, I practice what I preach, and I set a boundary. I'm big about setting boundaries, that I wasn't going to do any work except for potentially. There's like two things, which was a video and some claims. Those were the things I was going to allow myself to do on my week off, and I am doing that. Uh, I think as family, I just want to give some tips that when you're supporting someone who's going through any major decisions, I think it's as I help people healing, consent is so important. And so if you want to offer feedback, or you see something that you think might help them, I think it's helpful to check in and say, hey, I found something that would be interesting. Are you open to reading this? Um, because it's hard when the person's making decisions that you might not agree with or might seem contrary to who they are. And you don't know how it feels. Everyone's making decisions best based on what they're aware of. And it's fair that if you love somebody and you care about them and you don't know if they've considered it, you want to see if they've considered it. Because your relationship with them is important. So I highlight, as I'm a couple therapist, family therapist, to just get consent and check in. Hey, have you considered this? Would you be open to reading this article on this? I don't want to overwhelm you, and I want to respect your decision. I don't know exactly what it's like to be in your shoes. So I think it's really important to be mindful of that. I've been completely, it's been great, the support I've received. And yet there have been some who've shared things that did not feel good. And it's okay to let people know that. And that's why I really suggest just checking in. And I love, though, and like anyone who shares things with, oh, this helps prevent cancer, this helps, I have high blood pressure too. Like, I love information. And that's what I recommend. Anytime you're making these types of decisions, to look at all sides, sit with it, and then some of my talks have done a truth compass. You sit with your body and what feels right, and this is what felt right to me. So um, it surprised me that this is what I did, and hoping to be cancer free. Thank you for listening. Take care.